Good morning. Oh, I'm way
Morning.
over here. I need to get over here more. Hi there. Let's scoot together like we like each other.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. How are we doing this morning?
I am wonderful today. I now feel like I'm really crowding you at this
It's
point.
okay. Do you want me to move this?
No,
a
I
little
don't,
bit?
because I don't know. First day on camera. How are we doing today?
We've never done this.
This is
before.
our first live video ever.
Oh, I hope that we don't have trouble with comments today.
Oh, I'm so not excited about having problems with comments today. That seems to be my luck. If you're out there, comment. Let me see if I can see it.
Yeah, let's try that out.
Silly. I mean, we got viewers, so I know we're there. Victoria, are you seeing comments over there?
Yeah, I got you over here.
We have
Okay,
none.
I've got none.
0.
Because Facebook,
Great.
you're the worst. Anyway, we're Warm N Cozy Quilting. We're out of Columbia, Illinois. You guys are the customers. You're at your home, wherever that may be. This is Saturday morning coffee. This is the safe zone.
Right.
I'm not here to get money out of your wallet. Maybe a little bit, but not really.
Not selling you nothing.
Today, we're talking about things.
Right.
Labels, specifically. Why you have them, why you need them, what you're going to do with them.
Right. Quilt labels.
Quilt labels.
How many of you label your quilt?
I don't.
I said it like you have one. You should be labeling all quilts,
the quilts.
right?
All the quilts. So, yeah, that's a real thing. All
Oh,
right.
yeah. Pam said that she changed her blade this morning. Life is good.
Yeah,
We did
that's
that yesterday.
life-changing sometimes. It really is.
Good morning, Deborah.
Good
Those are the only
morning.
2 things I can see.
Yeah,
Maybe that's it.
it's not. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that Facebook algorithms are just a train wreck this morning because they did it to us on Wednesday. So
What if I get my phone?
get your phone out. Let's use your comments for
Oh,
that. Because
First, number 1, turn the volume down.
yes,
We don't need to hear it.
you don't need to hear it.
Let's go here.
Oh, goodness. So how's everybody's week
Fancy.
going? How you guys doing today? Having fun? You ready for this holiday weekend?
Right,
as
right.
it is. The reason for a season thing or what have you.
Oh, I keep getting these ads for this chair that's $1,400 for a chair. For like a sitting at your desk chair. Anyway.
That's a pricey chair.
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot of money to sit down.
And you can put it in many different ways so that you can like stand and
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. So we're going to hope that this is kind of going to work.
I'm going to tell you right now, you see more comments than I'm seeing because I've literally got 3.
Okay. So good morning to Deborah and Pam. We just talked about, right?
Good day.
And good morning to Beth. She said happy Easter Eve.
Happy Easter Eve for sure.
Good morning, Mom. And Pam said that she labels most of her quilts. That's great. I think so many of us don't label any, right?
Yeah, it's a bad habit. You usually want to get in that habit of labeling them for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we feel, okay, so do you guys tell yourself this lie that I tell myself every single day?
Which one would that be?
I'll remember.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when I finished that and who
Right.
it's for and what my thought process was doing it.
Right.
No.
Mom said she's more than halfway through the rag quilt.
Woo!
And good morning, Patty.
Good fun. Rag quilts. They're a good old time.
Yeah.
I'm going to give up on my comments over here. We'll just check back intermittently on yours.
Okay.
How about that? Because at this point, otherwise, I'm going to just keep clicking away.
Yeah, so I'm
not looking
sorry
at the screen, not talking.
if you are saying hello to us and we don't see it, I apologize.
I blame technology. You know who I can see comments on? YouTube. Thank you,
Right.
YouTube. By the way, we're streaming live on YouTube as well, so you can go over there and visit us and chat just the same. So either way. All right, so today, before we get started on the quilt label conversation, couple things, really one thing. The 210 Club. The Paintbrush 210.
Right. Paintbrush 210. So we are starting. Here's how it began.
Let's start with the origin story.
So Kelly, who works here,
Yes.
she had said, look at that color wall. Like, wouldn't you just love to have a fat quarter of every single one of those?
Which is insanity to me,
solids?
but I love the idea.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, Kelly, I mean, how much is that going to cost? I mean, 210 fat quarters, it's like a lot of money. Who's going to walk in She's like, because I know that I'm not the only one. I'm sure other people would want it. We need to have bundles of 200. Like, first of all, what kind of package am I putting that in?
That is a 7-pound bundle of fabric.
Wow.
7 pounds of fabric.
Yeah.
You don't think 7 pounds is a lot? The last time you went to the grocery store and you bought a pack of potatoes, a sack or pack, whatever.
Sack a pack.
A 5 pound?
Yeah.
Imagine that fabric.
Oh,
In all sorts of colors.
let's have it.
How
Let's do
insane would that be? That'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a sack of fabric to sell.
Right.
So you came up with this idea.
Yeah. I said, let's break it out into chunks
Yeah.
and send it to them over time, right? Everybody likes that anyway. It's a nice like subscription. People like those kind of,
Subscription ideas,
you
yes.
know, get a box each month and what's in there and be excited about it. So we said, okay, we're going to take these 210, we're going to break it down over 10 months. That gets 21 a month. And I said, you know what? I want to just charge them though for 20. Just charge them for 20 and give
Okay.
them one free
One free
each month.
every month.
So you guys know quarters, right? We have our
Yes.
quart of quarters, which is 10 fat quarters of solids, and they're $25.
Yes.
Right, so that makes them $2.50 a fat quarter. Most fat quarters, if you get prints, they're going to be $4 a fat quarter. These are $2.50 because they're solids. You guys get it. So I went, okay, $2.50 a fat quarter times 20.
$3,000.
That makes it $50, right?
Oh,
$50.
That's what I said.
Which is a great price. Like, I can almost always do something for $50. $50 a month.
Yeah. It's a reasonable number.
It's a reasonable number. I'm like, I don't want to get them into, over their heads. And I talk too much. Am I beleaguering this?
We are literally here to talk for the next hour.
Right. So go ahead and talk too much. Okay. So $50 a month for 10 months, 21 fat quarters each month. You're going to pay for 20, you get one free. So over the course of the 10 months, you're going to end up with 2.5 yards of free fabric.
If you do the fat quarter selection.
If you do the fat quarter selection. We also have it half yard selection because
Which
I
would be 5
immediately had someone go, fat quarters though, is that going to be enough? I mean, now, did you know
No.
that in one fat quarter,
Yes.
you can get 56
This is not a fat quarter.
2.5 inch squares?
Really?
Yeah,
That's a mathematically magical thing.
it is.
Mathematically magical.
Yeah, what he said.
What he said.
So a fat quarter is a lot of fabric.
It is.
But it's for some people that's not enough.
Not
And I
enough.
totally get it.
Yeah.
So then we decided, okay, you know what? Let's do half yards. That's twice as much fabric. So that's a good, you've got a better piece of fabric to work with.
Yeah.
You have 40 inches wide. So that's nice if you need something nice and long.
Yeah.
So for the fat quarter bundle, should be $100. We've made it 95.
Yeah.
95 a month.
Okay.
So you're saving $5 every month. Do that times 10. You saved yourself $50, right? Right?
Pretty fantastic.
And you got 5 yards of fabric for free.
Woo! What a deal.
Next, of course, we decided there's going to be people who want a yard of everything. That makes sense. So that would be $200, but we made it $180, saving $20 a month.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. Are you sure that's what we did?
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote it up, so it's what we did.
$20 a month. You save that over the 10-month period. You're going to tell me how much that is.
$200.
$200 that you've saved. Okay.
Not to mention 10 yards of fabric for free,
Right.
effectively.
Right.
And then just you have all the colors. Now, you brought these things in.
I did. Let me see here. Okay, so now
So-
I've got this whole phone over here.
We
and-
have, she's decided she needed some sort of visual
right.
to work
Because
with.
here's the deal. Now I am curating
That's a great word.
these boxes.
Yes.
Specifically for each month. Out of 210, I didn't want to give you. So at first we went, okay, we'll just do 21. We'll do the first 21. They're all, what's
Want
that?
me to throw that in the comments?
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Do that.
Yeah, put the link out there. If you want to sign up for it, you absolutely can go sign up for it right now. The cost for signing up is $2.10. because we just thought that was cute.
Because we're cute and gimmicky.
Everything
like
is, correlating together.
right.
Man, I guess everyone is busy.
No, it's not even that. It's that I'm done with Facebook today.
Okay.
We're done with Facebook.
The comments on the YouTube side also.
Yeah, that's great. Both
Perfect.
sides. So
there'll be a link that'll take you to where you can decide if you want fat quarter bundles, if you want half yard bundles, if you want 1 yard bundles. We are not seeing comments, so everyone knows, okay? Anyway, it's just not working.
Yeah,
I saw her post the link.
that's as far as we've gotten at this
Okay,
point.
so then I'm trying to curate this. Oh, we didn't even tell you. Oh my gosh. You're going to get a free color card with all 210 paintbrush solids on the card. Also, for those who are going,
it's not in here.
for those who are going, paintbrush, I've never used them. I don't know what it is. That's a lot of, I'm unsure. Come in and feel them. I wish I could give you one right now so you could touch it, but they don't fray as much. The hand is beautiful. For solids, I love them.
Mm-hmm. They don't feel like, you ever picked up your solid and you're using it, it just has this like see-through, like not robust, full-bodied texture.
It's really nice.
You can't see me. See, look, I'm hiding.
But
Anyway.
okay, so I decided that I needed a 2.5-inch strip, oh my gosh, of every single one of them.
Yes.
So that I could take them home and I can decide what's
coordinate.
going into each of the 10 months.
Do you want to see what almost 210
I'm not
colors
done
look
cutting
like?
all yet, but look. Oh man, they're
Yes,
everywhere.
right there. They're like a big pile of fabric snakes. Look at all these colors. They're everywhere. Oh my golly gracious. There's so much color.
210. So I still have a handful of blues and purples left to cut.
You know how many duplicated colors are in this pile right here?
0.
Exactly nones.
None.
Yeah, those are 2 different greens right there.
Right.
So it really covers
Oh,
it.
look at this.
What do you have there?
Like, these are beautiful.
Now imagine this in fat quarter pieces in your hands or in a nice little box. Display it on your shelf just because it's pretty.
So
And
then
you
I
decide you need some.
decided, okay, this is already a good deal.
Good Lord.
Okay. Already a good deal. But I'm going to do them based on, I don't know. Today I was thinking, what about Northern Lights? So I'm going to take pictures of like famous things
Okay.
and go, what is
Inspired by.
colors inspired by Northern
Nice.
Lights? So your box is going to be like inspired by Northern Lights.
Woo.
Inspired by Egyptian sunset. What's that going to look like?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Look like? I
What
bet there's
is
not a
the-
whole lot of green in that.
Right? So because I didn't want you to get a whole box of yellow, a whole box of brown. Maybe brown isn't your favorite, and you go, oh man, this
You're
month
going
is
to end up
boring.
with the browns in there because that's
right.
just
You're going to
facts.
get all of them,
Yes.
but I'm going to try to make it so that it's fun each time.
Well, it's what I'm expecting. If
Right?
it's not fun,
So
Simple.
210 colors. You're going to get it over 10 months. You're gonna get it for the special price. They're going to be curated, beautiful. You're going to get the color card that's going to, so that you can order if you love this one right here.
oh, I do like that one.
It's kind of a peachy
Peachy.
color. You love that one and you're like, I don't know which one this is. It's in my stack and I'm not sure and I need 3 yards of it because it's going to go on the back of this quilt. And you go to your color card and you go to your computer and you order it. Okay, next. Best thing of all of it.
There's more?
There's more. This is the last thing, I promise. Then we'll talk about other things, okay? Anyone who joins this program will have special pricing for them for paintbrush solids for the entire 10 months. So if you decide you love this color and you need more yardage because your fat quarter is not going to do it for what you need to do,
Yeah.
then you go and you find which one that is and you order it and you put in your personalized coupon code and you're going to get all of your solids for the entire 10 months for $7.50 a yard.
All of your paintbrush, painter's palette, solids.
These are $8.99 a yard if you walk in the store today.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, if you are like, no, I'll be in the shop, I'll just get it when I'm there, that pricing follows you, right? So
That's your
you
price
get
for the time
$7.50 a yard
period.
for the entire 10 months. There's things like,
Pretty
you know,
fantastic,
you need
actually.
a background fabric for this quilt. You're going
Right.
to need a couple of yards.
You're
going to
you
get
need
it
black.
you're going to get it for $7.50.
Very cool.
So,
Good deal.
if you want to join, you
Links in
have
the
the
comment.
information,
Click on the
links in there.
Spots
We are
availability is limited.
Yes.
I can only do 40.
I can only get so many
I only
color
have 10
cards,
fingers.
so therefore I'm only taking so many people. I'm cutting off signups at April 30th. If I haven't sold
till
out
the
by
end of the month.
then, I'd be surprised if we don't sell out by then. But if I
Right.
haven't sold out by then, April 30th, last day to sign up.
So don't
Then
wait.
you'll have to wait.
Yeah, because again, once we get through this sign-up period and we get this started, we're not going to open it up for the Paint Pro Solids again until, if we do again, it'll be after this
after
period.
it's over. So
That's my expectation. We may have to
because it
adjust
is,
on that, but
yeah. Anyway,
it's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
if you want to be in this club, you want to
Don't miss out.
right.
Be there.
You're
We'll
gonna
sell you
come
a seat, but you
and-
only need the edge. Is it that level
Yeah.
of no? Probably not.
Well, and if that seat's $1,400, like the one that I was looking at,
I ain't
this
leaving
morning,
that seat. Not for $1,400. Good Lord.
Right.
No. Anyway.
Okay. If anyone has commented, oh, Barb said hi from Arkansas,
Hi, Barb
and
from Arkansas.
and it's Barb that we know, but she's in Arkansas.
Hi, Barb that we know from that's in Illinois. That's in Arkansas.
And I think I saw Mickey said hello. Good morning.
Well, hello, Mickey.
Good morning.
Good morning and hello and good day.
And
Perfect.
Kelly is so over the moon about this 210.
Kelly, get to work. What are you doing? I'm kidding. Obviously.
We put it out yesterday and we're like, we're sending it out to the people who said they were interested first. And then she's like, that's okay. I'm posting it to Facebook.
Right. Just tell the world.
I'm telling the world.
Sign up. Go do
Anyway.
it. Anyway. All right. Well, that was fun. Again, I said it was a safe-ish zone to begin with. Now we're just
Yeah, right now it'd cost you $2.10.
$2.10. That's it.
If you wanted to join.
And again,
That's it.
details as far as when it's starting. It will be starting in July.
Yes.
So you got a couple months to get yourself mentally prepared for where you're going to put all this fabric.
Mhm.
So sign up now and be ready for it.
Oh shoot, you'll have fabric to make any mystery quilt.
The
that
mystery
we do.
quilts. I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing.
Oh, Kelly wants to do the exploding heart. Have you guys seen this pattern?
Is she going to do it in each month in each colorway?
She is going to do she is going to do all 210 colors in one quilt.
Oh my good Lord, that sounds incredible.
There's like 500 squares, so they'll be repeated.
Oh, that makes sense.
Anyway,
That sounds like there was
Oh
some
my
mental
gosh.
prep work going into that.
so exciting. Yeah,
That
she
does
said,
sound
"Could I
great.
come in on Sundays and cut fabric?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yes, please do. By all means. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about labels. You
Let's
guys are like, I'm
Talk
over it.
about labels. Now, we got people who have said that they are labeling their quilts. Some say they kind of sometimes do. We got those saying they've never labeled their quilts.
I have one that's labeled.
Did you make the label?
No.
Mm.
Thank you, Donna, for making that label for me. Like 3 years ago.
Which is funny because we have all the things to make labels here, and we are a quilt shop, so we should label every quilt, but we don't. But
So we do give a lot away, but shouldn't it still say who it was quilted by and who
yeah,
made
we really
it and
need
all
to
that
feel a little
stuff?
better
Dang
about
it.
that.
So, because again, like I was saying earlier, we all lie to ourselves. We say, I'll remember that. And yes, you might remember it.
You might.
I have had people who come in. Okay, I had a customer who made a jacket
Mm-hmm.
out of selvage
Uh-huh.
that she had saved off the ends of all of these fabrics that she put into different quilts. And she stood there and told me, this was from when my son got married. And this one's from the graduation of my niece. I made that quilt. So some people do remember. I get that. That is not me. I
Nope.
do not remember.
Not today. Sorry, but nope.
If it is before now, it's like, like a couple of days ago. And it could have been 3 years ago.
I have
That's
no
how
idea.
I
Spatially,
concept
time
of
aware
time,
is not there.
Not so much. So frequently, I have a friend that I used to work with who was like, oh, that's when blah, blah, blah. She would know
Right. That eidetic
how
memory thing.
she always knew
Right. Well, the
all the things.
important
from the
part of
past.
labels is they tell us things,
Right.
informations. They're
Yes.
everywhere.
Right.
You shouldn't eat that. That's your
Right,
phone.
right,
Don't
right,
eat that.
right.
Don't wash this. You should wash that by hand.
And now that California has a say in things, we have lots of labels on
so
everything.
many labels on everything.
Like this might be hazardous. This might be hazardous.
Don't
Everything is
eat it.
hazardous.
Wash your hands. Simple. You'll be fine.
Right.
More importantly, though, what we found is that quilts, when you make them, if you don't have a label on them, we're not going to know about them in the future. So we were doing all those blocks for the last few years. We do like all the different blocks, and I'd find history on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
What we learned from that, what I learned from that, is that if you don't label them, historians have no way of telling where and when they came from. Now, the ones and how we know the history of our quilting heritage
Mm-hmm.
is based on labels.
Yeah.
So if you don't label them, we don't know. So what you made today, where's it going to be in 50 years?
So especially so a lot of you right now may be a first generation quilter.
Good possibility.
You don't have, and some of you may have come from long line
Family
of
lines of
quilters.
quilters. Been doing it
And
since the 1800s.
And they've told the stories and this and that. But especially those of us who maybe you don't have a lot of old quilts laying around.
I don't know where you were going with
If
that.
you give this to someone,
Right.
and they are also not a quilter, right? Then it gets given to their children, or it's there for, and then they have no idea where it came from.
No
like,
idea.
and they don't know anything about it, and they sell it online for $5, and
They throw it in the recycle bin, or not the recycle
'Cause
bin,
they-
but the donating bin.
'cause they
and
don't
send it to
know,
the,
right.
wherever, and the history of it gets lost.
right.
So that effort that you put into this beautiful project years and years ago,
Mhm.
now has just been passed around and what have you.
Right.
So knowing the history and value, if you will, based on where it came from, super important, like really very, very valuable. Especially when it comes down to like trying to figure out names and types of blocks that are out there.
Mhm.
We've run into the modern world where there's modern blocks, different styles of putting things
I'm making
together.
some right now.
You're doing a modern style block. But when you look at some of your historical blocks, such as your bear paw,
Mhm.
again, we learned that regionally varies by name.
Right.
You have your duck print, you have your turkey footprints, like they call them different blocks based on what part of the country you're from. You label that quilt, and in 150 years, somebody finds that, and they say, oh, this is a modern block done by the artist Tula Pink,
Mhm.
was the originating source. Like, that gives people something to work from.
Right.
It's not just made up. Where are we going to be in 150 years? Are we going to be quilting with
Well,
like machines?
And so I think that sometimes people think, oh, well, now we're in the modern age.
Yeah.
There's records of things because I gave it to them and took a picture at Christmas and whatever.
Sure.
And so there's better records now than there used to be.
Probably to a point.
Somewhat,
sure.
but not really.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Because we give it to people who then give it to someone else, or it gets passed down, or and they don't have the information. So
Right.
better to have that. Better to have all the information.
Right. So, what is a quilt label? Obviously, it's a secondary label that identifies key details about your work. Key details that we're looking for. Number one, you want to put possibly who created it. So you
Right.
may want to put your name on it.
Yeah. Mhm,
That's
mhm.
you.
Right.
You can put my name on it. That's cool. I'll be the most, notoriously pieced quilter all over the world for
Right.
the rest of time.
Right.
When you pieced it, it doesn't have to be exact day.
Month and year is good. Just year at
Just
least.
year is fine.
At least just year. And that should be like when you finish, right? Is that
I
right?
believe that is what most people go with, is when it was finished.
Because like my Hearts at Sea quilt out there
Mhm.
has 2020 on it. And I went, I did not make that in 2020.
You've
That
been
was
making it
before
for
that.
way longer.
Anyway, but I finished quilting it January of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, I quilted it over the Christmas break. Guess what? That went from 19 to 20. Anyway.
By the
So,
way,
Anyway, even though I keep going, no, I finished it in 19. No,
Yeah,
you finished it in
20.
20. So that's why it has 2020.
right? If you can include the pattern that you used, would be helpful as well. That way it kind of defines what that block is or what that pattern, right, or whatever. Any information that you're willing to add on there is great.
Right.
And if you're giving it to somebody, their name as well. Obviously.
Obviously? I don't know.
I think obviously. I think if I'm gifting it to somebody, so if it's going from me to Charles A. Baker, I want to make sure that people know that it belonged to Charles A. Baker and that I made it, and whatever Charles did with it is on Charles. That's not me. I gave it to him in good working condition.
Yeah.
If he gave it to his dog and the dog ate it up, well, that's unfortunate.
Right. Yeah. So my quilt label says my name, the year, what I called it, which is My Heart's at Sea.
Oh yeah, I guess you could go that way too.
Which is
if you put a name
not the name of the pattern.
Nope.
Also, so it hangs in the shop, and so I tell the story about it all the time. That story is not written down. Dang it. I thought I was doing good with at least one quilt. No.
You're doing okay, though. At least you have something.
Right.
The
rest of the quilts that I have, so we counted the other day, and there's 72 quilts hanging in the shop.
That's a lot of quilts in the shop.
Also includes quilts that, like, table runners,
small
anything like that. 31 of them are made by me. And I have labels on exactly 0. Oh no, 1. I have labels on 1. I have the 1 label. Also, we now have embroidery machines, so we could be making labels.
We could be making
every
labels.
Single day. We need to make a label for every quilt.
Okay.
Just one label a day. Okay.
So that begs the question: is when should you use a label? I think the rule of thumb is every quilt.
Yeah.
That's just general rule of thumb. It doesn't have to be fancy either. We're going to talk about different types of labels here in a second. You don't have to go overboard. Really, you don't.
Okay.
Now, if you took let's say you went and you bought some super dirt cheap fabric that's not real good quality, that's not going to last, and you just bought it just so you could make this demo piece.
Right, and it was a practice situation. Maybe I got a new block and I want to see if that's going to work out, or a new pattern. I want to see if it's going to work out.
You're going to give that away to an animal or somebody that's going to intentionally, is going to destroy it. Don't go through the effort.
Right.
But if it's definitely a piece that you've worked on, you've put some time into, and you intend on it being around for at least some time, put some love into it. Put a label on it, so that way people know that you gave a hootenanny about it. What's that?
I was just trying to see if I could see any more comments.
Do we have any new comments that we can actually see? No? Okay. Thank you, Facebook. You're the best.
Maybe nobody's commenting.
Maybe nobody's commenting because they're intrigued by the whole situation here.
Yes. So.
All right.
So these quilts that are hanging on the wall that I may give to a donatable situation, I don't have a who it's going to. I don't have you know what I mean? So, but even still, just having some of that information.
Also, I did put an important thing to also have is location.
Oh my gosh. So, we used to have, Callie Bone has come in.
Oh, yeah.
And done quilt appraisals. And she said, putting the county is good. So don't just say, Illinois. Because now, I don't know that this will happen in recent recent times, right?
Yeah.
But county lines will move, or so she said, you want to put that it was Waterloo, Illinois, but also Monroe County, so that if we get mad at Monroe County and we decide we're going to be somebody else, and you can follow the history of
revolution in Monroe County.
yeah.
Things got wild in Monroe.
Yeah, but apparently this is things that happened frequently in the past, and so I think that we think, oh, that's not going to happen now. But who knows?
It's kind of neat, actually, to think of it that way. So, yeah, location's super important. City, state, super important, I think. But county, I think, sounds really important as well. So, again,
I think that if you put the city, state, and the year, they would be able to find out what county that was at that point.
We would hope. But anyway, super awesome. I love that. Optional information, quilt pattern, recipient, the occasion. So if it was a wedding gift.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Jeff and Jane.
Right.
That's
what if they
cool,
split up? What happens then? Who gets the quilt?
Cut it right down the middle. You should get half. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I'm kidding. Anyway, super good information there. What am I missing on that? I think there's not a ton when it comes to the idea of labels of what to put on there. Again, just putting something really just is better than absolutely nothing. And actually, there are 2 quilts in the store that are labeled. Carla actually labeled the back of one of her quilts in
Nice. Sharpie.
pin.
Or
So,
not Sharpie.
it's not
you know.
Sharpie. So let's talk about the types of labels that we have. You have really 2 ways that you can do it. You can do it on quilt, like you actually put it on the backing of the material. And usually most labels are on the back of the quilt. Sometimes people will put them on the front, like a memory type block up front. Either one is fine.
Right.
You put it right on the fabric and incorporate it into the quilt. That works well. That means it's not going to get ripped off and discarded.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your other option is that you get a secondary piece of fabric and you put your label on that. All right.
And that's done most frequently, I would say.
More often than not, I've seen that a lot. It's very rare that we get the people that'll put it on the fabric and then
Because
quilt it in, but
it is a little bit, so it is challenging as long armors to get when your label is already on your backing.
making sure it's all centered.
It's not that serious, but we have to make sure that that label is going to get in there.
Right.
That I didn't finish quilting and here's your label.
Right.
Oops.
Sorry.
So
Always a thing to consider.
Yeah. So when you bring in a quilt to us, if you already have the label and it's printed on your backing, making sure that we know that is really all you have to do.
Right.
And we just make sure that we land within that so that it looks good on your backing.
Right.
It is going to get quilted through. So sometimes people don't like that. So that's why they then add the label after.
the fact, which is completely reasonable as well. So you have your handwritten ones. No, you don't have to have an embroidery machine. No, you don't have to embroider. You don't have to do any of that. You get yourself. We've come a long way from markers or pens that were created many, many years ago where the ink would fade and become illegible.
Right.
The markers we have now are definitely archival inks like this one. This is from Micron? No. Who is this from? Is it Micron?
Well, I know they're micron pens. That's
They're
what I
micron
always
pens.
call them. But that was the brush one.
Pigma brush.
Prisma. Pigma? Oh.
Pigma. Anyway,
Pigma
this
pens.
has
How
actually
about that?
got a brush tip to it.
Right.
And as you can see, I scribbled on this one here. Hello, Danielle. And I put the date and some other fun decorative stuff over there. You could do this directly onto your backing all day long. You don't have to get crazy fancy. You don't have to go get a typewriter out and make it nice and exact.
No.
You're putting your personality into that label so that it's on the quilt for life and generations to come. This, you cannot rip off the backing. That is going to stay there. And
Right.
being a fabric pen designed for being archival, it's not going to wash out. So when they wash the
Right.
quilt 85 times, this isn't going anywhere.
Right.
So don't write on your own shirt with this while you're working.
Don't use it like you do your friction pins, you know.
Do not use this for marking.
No.
This is going to be part of the quilt forever.
Right.
So anyway, handwritten. Does it matter if your handwriting is the worst?
No.
My handwriting's atrocious. I should have been a doctor, except I don't doctor very well. So,
Say it. Just
and
go
I've
ahead.
got no patience.
Yeah.
I know. It's terrible. I'm sorry. Nobody should laugh
Anyway.
at that. Anyway, use a pen. It works out really well. Let's say you don't want to write on just the backing. Maybe you want it to be on a label. There are pre-printed labels that you can buy. We sell them in singles so that you can look at how cute that. You got the lines in there. You
Right.
can just write all your information on that, ready to go. You have the lines that'll keep it straight. How great is that idea?
That's a good idea.
So pre-made labels are great. You can buy sheets of pre-made labels. Look at this panel.
Oh, I love this panel.
Look
so
at it. It's fantastic.
So it's creams and black.
Right.
And
It's got sewy, notion-y stuff happening on here. This bird is attached to a clamp, by the way. Look at that guy.
that's
Not sure what's happening there. Anyway, again, labels are great because
sometimes
it tells
there's
you
lines, sometimes there's not lines.
you got your to, you
Sometimes
got
it's
your
to,
froms,
yeah.
you got the date, like this lovely block here. You don't want to write in there. You want to use embroidery to do that. You can with a label. It's on fabric already. It's no big deal.
Right.
Or write it in. So labels, quilt labels, use them, especially when they're pre-made. It's fantastic.
Right.
All right. So that's those.
Or you can use an embroidery machine. That was next.
We can use it. I was actually going to go hand embroidery. You're super
Okay.
excited about this.
I know
So
because
excited
it says
about this.
Jason did this.
I know. You keep showing them that. I did do that.
It's fun.
So There's hand embroidery. I did not bring any hand embroidery anything in here.
Nothing
Nothing.
in this room. But you could take this. I've seen this done too.
What's that?
Some people have some old quilts that they used a marker of some sort. The writing is going away because it's not as good as the pins are now. They're not as permanent.
Fading, yeah.
And so they have taken those and then used embroidery floss to over what was already written.
Well, that's brilliant.
So that they can make it last longer.
Oh.
So you could even
really
do that
good
yourself.
idea.
So you could write it out here. You could use a like wash away pin if you wanted to, if you just wanted something to follow, and then you can hand embroider your name, whatever you want, with
That's
just some embroidery
amazing.
floss.
I have zero idea how to do any of that, but I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's all different embroidery stitches that you can do. Maybe you do something fun that just, is going to be your personality in the label.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, I was just thinking you were doing like some cross stitch thing to like create a.
Yeah, you could do that too, but you're going to want somewhere like I can't from memory go, oh, I'll put an X there, and that'll make my name. I'd write it out.
Just magically make it happen.
Maybe.
Anyway, so that would add a real level of super personal to that quilt, that gift that you're handing off to somebody else or that you're having forever and ever. Lots of extra time going into something like that, though. So keep that in mind. There is using your sewing machines for embroidery. What?
I don't think any of us are worried about the amount of time since we make quilts.
Right. We're not worried
about how much time it takes.
Does not matter, for sure. But anyway, you got sewing machines. How many of you have a sewing machine with an alphabet library on it? I don't know why I'm raising my hand. I do not.
Mine has a couple of alphabets.
So, are they the most glorious embroidered things you've ever seen in your life? No, of course not. But look at this. Look how simple that is. That took me about 2 minutes to do on, I don't remember which machine it even was. Might have been the M7 because that was the one that was on at the point in time. Maybe it was 9415. I don't know. Anyway.
That's information you should know.
I should have known that, but I don't know. April Fool's Day. Ha ha ha. See, April 1st. This was supposed to be last week's topic, but we didn't have internet, so.
It's not as pretty as, like the letters aren't filled in. It didn't do like a.
Right, it's not block letters and stuff like that, but.
And like an embroidery machine, you're going to have lots of different fonts to choose from
and sizes and all that stuff.
Sizes and things like that, yes. Where on your domestic machine, even though it does have letters, you're kind of limited to what it can do. Because, by the way, that little, how far it can...
Your stitch width.
Your stitch width is only so big.
Right.
So it can't make a letter that big.
Yeah, you can't make the giant letters. But again, if you're just looking to create something quick and easy that you can just sew on, put into your quilt.
And that's going to be permanent for sure,
Yeah, I mean, it's stitched into fabric. It's going to be great.
Right.
Not a bad option. You can absolutely use this. I've actually seen this done. Works really well.
Yeah.
Or you can go embroidery machine. There are combo machines out there you can use. There are just straight single needles.
We have a combo machine now.
We have a combo machine in the store now. You should come see it.
Sewing and embroidery.
It's cool.
Awesome.
I'm still trying to learn it.
Yeah, I know.
There's some buttons to push that I'm not.
Like how?
I know the single needle. That makes sense to me. It's so weird to me to be able to just like bloop, bloop, flip over. I'm just going to piece together.
Okay.
Anyway. But we have them. Anyway, so yes, there's software that you can make the font. I just did this real quick and easy just because I was seeing how long it would take. This took me about 5 minutes to do. 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes. What's 5 minutes in the 3 months it's taken you to put this?
Now, how in the heck are we going to put that on the quilt? You can't just slap it on there. Don't stick.
You can't?
Right, no. Did you talk about that?
No. How to adhere it to the quilt? No, I didn't put any of that information here, but that's a really smart conversation.
Well.
Okay,
so
hold on though. There's one more method. There's one more method you can use that's not even this difficult. You know what it is? You can print a label.
Oh.
You've got your printable fabrics that you can get.
Right.
You put that in your printer. You go to your Word document.
Beep, boom, beep, boom, beep.
Type up your giant story, and you print that out. And bam.
You can take over like a whole corner of the back. It don't matter.
For sure can. Doesn't matter. you got a poem you want to put on that because it's fun. Poem.
Poem.
We're in the Southeast Illinois, Southwest.
It's a poem.
Poem. You're going to have a poem on your quilt. Anyway, you can print that out. I've seen this only because I was Googly searching labels and such like that. I don't have one. I haven't tried this yet. I cannot verify that it actually works. But it stands to reason. It would be a wonderful option.
So you could just print it. And especially if you're like, these were from this fabric line.
You could get a lot more information.
Exactly. You without having to hand embroider. These were from this.
Or buying an extra large embroidery machine that now is going to make the super beautiful stitch. Not that those aren't beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love this look here. I'm happy with this. But I wouldn't be mad if it was printed also, because either way, it's still history. It's still the information being put on the quilt that will, for the life of the quilt, tell you what that's all about.
Exactly. There are things too. If this is a wedding gift and you want to really give them a poem and a good story, or and tell them why you chose this fabric, why you chose this pattern, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe that's on a separate, like that's a piece of paper, you know, that goes with the quilt.
Right.
But then it can get lost.
Yeah, separated stuff gets lost in time. It just happens. That's just fact. So,
but, you know, sometimes I'm like, I want them to know, and if they don't keep it with it, you know, past that point, does it matter? Well, I think it does.
Sure, it
because
does.
now, especially now, when I've seen quilts being appraised, and they're, you know, Hallie was asking the customer, so do you know where it came from? Do you know all of these things? And she knows very little because it wasn't given to her. So anyway, so I think it's important. Yes.
It all adds to the prestige of the quilt, where it came from, what it's all about, what the value of that actually is now. And being able to validate that in some way, shape, or form. And again, just being able to put a date to it. I just cannot express that enough. Again, in everything I've read in the history on quilt blocks and quilts in general,
your name and the date.
If it wasn't for that information stored somehow, some way with that quilt, there's just no way of knowing sometimes. Which, I mean, people bring in old quilts all the time because they want to show them off or they have questions on how to take care of them. And sometimes you can't always tell because it's been stored from the day it was made in a cedar chest, and it comes out looking, it's day one, and it's gorgeous, you know, feed sack fabric, and it's old, and I would not wash that. I would, wait, don't do that. Let's see what happens first. Get it appraised, all those things. So having that information is going to be smart. Also, when did Grandma make that?
Right.
That's a good question.
Right.
We don't know.
Right. And I think, oh, my kids will know, and they'll pass that information along. And I mean, I don't even know. So how are they going to know?
How do they know what to do? All right. So you were talking about attaching this to a quilt. How do I do this?
So
I need to make I got a quilt I can put this on. My star quilt from January that's out there.
Nice.
But that wasn't the right date. I did that in January.
Jason did this April 1st.
I'll have to change that.
You could put it on there and then be like, no, it was the April Fool's Day joke.
It's actually December of 22.
So you can do things like fold it, you know, fold a 1/4 inch all the way around. You can stitch it on.
Oh, into your binding?
Well, I'm just saying you could just stitch it on. I will talk about binding in a second.
Okay.
But you could stitch it on a couple of sides, and then you'd have to hand stitch, you know, a little bit. But yes, it is also good. Like a lot of times we'll see them sewn into the binding and across the bottom and across the side. So then you only have 2 sides to hand stitch.
Right.
And then you're going to want to fold that down and so that you don't have a
raw edge.
Yeah.
You don't want a raw edge.
And then you can do some kind of hand stitch. It's going to look nice. If you just take this to your sewing machine and that's going to show up on the front of the quilt.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
I mean, you could. It depends on what it is. And if you have the right color bobbin thread that's not going to show, you know what I mean? Like, this one little straight line across here and straight. If it was this size label.
Which would be actually a great little size, but I think the important part to me is putting it in the binding so it's not as easily to dispose and remove of.
Yes,
becomes very much
except
more part of it.
whenever we've had old quilts come in that
Yeah.
need repair,
Mm-hmm.
they always, seems like always, need new binding.
Oh.
When you are
see.
pulling on a quilt, you're pulling the quilt up,
Mhm.
you're handling the binding more than anything else. When you go to fold the quilt, when all those things, the binding is getting handled all the time. It shows the dirt, it shows the wear. It's going to have, and generally those are the first things to start to go, especially when they are hand stitched to the back. So if you machine stitch your binding to the top, flip it over and hand stitch it down, there are some people who are amazing at that.
I am not.
And it is nice and tight and it stays for a long time. But even still, that is one stitch, right? It is not an interlocking stitch like a sewing machine. So you have a single thread that is holding that together.
Mhm.
And that's what's getting tugged on. So frequently, so my dad has a king size quilt that I've had to repair the binding on a couple of times because this place is loose, and that it was one of the first quilts I ever made.
Right.
It was the first quilt that I ever did hand binding on.
Hand binding.
And it doesn't have a label. So anyway, so what I'm saying is, putting that in the binding, yes, that's good. That's being stitched in. Binding does tend to wear.
It can wear out, yeah.
You could absolutely just stitch it all the way around. You could use kind of an adhesive, like you would with applique, do a steam seam or something so that it stays in place while you hand stitch. That's a good thing too.
So my question with the steam seam was and this is just me thinking out loud, does that add any rigidness to that section there? So maybe just small amounts of it,
yeah, and
possibly, just to help stabilize it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like what do you call it? Thinner interfacing type material?
Right. You can do like SF 101, but SF 101 is only one-sided.
yeah.
You need something that's going to be two-sided sticky. And it's mostly just so that I can keep it in place. So guess what? I could just pin it.
You could just pin it and then it would stay right where it should stay.
Then it wouldn't matter.
Then it would not matter. Not at all. Not even a little bit. It's a true statement. So, all right, cool. Well, super helpful. I hope everybody got some information out of that. That's useful. I got a lot of people out here. Looks like they're labeling their quilts. Deborah also takes pictures of them.
Oh, that's
a good
so
idea.
Smart.
Pamela recently started adding the city. Again, I really think just whatever information you can put on it, because I think there's I believe it was Bella was telling me that she has. It's almost like a full-on story that she'll stitch up for labels and embroiders them on there. So
nice.
Whatever information you can add really just helps for the history of it.
I tell people, if you're early in your quilt journey, you really need to keep a scrapbook type album type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Even if you are late in your quilt journey, let's start today.
Right.
Start keeping track of what fabrics went in this quilt.
Right. All that kind of information really, again, just keeping track. And then it helps you to kind of go back and review what you've done and
it's so
see your progression, really.
I mean, I really had no idea, first of all, how many quilts we had hanging in the shop. And then Lydia was like, can I count them? I'm like, yeah. Lydia,
sure, why not?
Please count them. And so she went through each room and marked because she kept getting lost on what number she was at. And anyway, and then I went, how many did I do that are hung up? And she's like, I don't know which ones you did or which ones you didn't do. So I had to walk the floor and figure it out. But we have so many rooms. And even in here, we have quilts on the walls that you can't see because it helps so that we don't have noise bouncing off and stuff like that. So they're pretty, but they're helpful too. So we do that for multiple reasons.
Right.
But I have 31 in here, and I'm like, how is that even possible?
And that's 31 currently here hanging up. That doesn't count all the ones you've done that have gone out without labels.
Yeah, I know. All these quilts are living out there in the world. Anyway.
Unbelievable. Anyway, it's not unbelievable. It's just what it is, and that's how it works. So, label things. Do it. And again, you don't want to take the time to print one out. All that. Just.
Yeah. And maybe in 100 years, it will fade.
Maybe.
And maybe not.
Maybe not.
you in 100 years, you will not probably be here.
I mean, if I'm 140 years
my
old, the world's
gosh.
really gotten weird.
Yeah.
I won't be
mean,
here in 100 years.
Doctors are amazing at that
No,
point.
thank
We're
you.
like, whoa.
No, thank you.
I don't think any part of my body will work right anymore.
Could you imagine?
I mean, my
Ugh.
hips don't like it now.
Another 100 years of this? Could you imagine that?
Right.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Anyway. Whew. All right. With that, I don't have much more information to talk about. Labels are pretty basic of a conversation,
Yeah.
but not at the same time. So again, if you need help or better information on labeling things, come in, ask the comments, questions here.
We'll be
Let
glad
us
to
know.
help.
Glad
We
to
love
help.
to help.
All the things.
If you want to join 210, the Paintbrush 210 Club,
Yeah.
Go sign up.
Links in the comments. Go do that. Go sign up
It only costs you $2.10 right now,
to get started.
and you'll get a whole box that are
Beautiful.
all going to go together. You could make a quilt from it because 20 fat quarters makes a quilt, and you're going to get 21. Or you could just save them, like I'm going to do, and they're going to be all on the shelf, and they're going to be beautiful.
It's going to be decoration at that
Anyway.
point. All right. So with that, I think we're done here. Are you done? You good? All right. We'll see you guys today. Hopefully you come in and say hi. If not, you have yourself a happy Easter, and we will see you very soon.
All right. Bye.